Well, here we are. Same spot we always seem to be. Sixers suffering a crushing loss and an early loss in the NBA playoffs. And once again, they're going home way too early here in May. Sixers lose Game 6 at home, 118-115. We're going to recap this game, recap this series, and look ahead to what we can expect this offseason as Philadelphia is now equipped with the most cap space in the entire NBA. In a way, you feel good about what the Sixers have moving forward. Tyrese Maxey emerging as a star. You have the most cap space that you can utilize on free agents. We'll see if any of the big ticket free agents actually want to sign with Philadelphia. They're going to be interested. They're going to be players for LeBron James, for Paul George, Klay Thompson, because they have the money to pay those players. But are those players going to be willing to come to Philadelphia? From their standpoint, they look at Tyrese Maxey, what he did in Game 2, what he did in Game 5, and they look at him as a 23-year-old with unlimited potential who does 3 workouts before 1 o'clock p.m., loves getting in the lab, loves the game of basketball, has a vivacious personality. And then you still have Joel Embiid, who this year, when healthy, played at an MVP level. I know that he was bad in Game 5, but it goes to show you the talent and the ability that he has within his body, that in an awful game, in which, yes, he did have 9 turnovers in that Game 5, he still had a triple-double. And let's give credit to Joel Embiid. He emptied the gas tank against the Knicks in this game. 39 points, 12 of 25 from the floor, 13 of 13 from the free throw line, and 13 rebounds. Couldn't have asked anything more. Fouled out of this game. He gave the Sixers everything that he had. Playing on one leg, Bell's palsy. If he can just stay healthy, imagine what he's going to be able to do alongside Tyrese Maxey, because the two-man game that they were able to develop, and keep in mind, they didn't play a lot this year, was unstoppable in this series. A lot more to get to here, a lot more thoughts I want to pass along. Subscribe, 76ers coverage all year long, and we're going to cover every step of this offseason. Rebounding for the Knicks, certainly one of those storylines in this series that is just going to stick in your craw. You're going to remember it as a key element of this series, because the Knicks, once again in this game, really good on the offensive glass. It led to a lot of second chance points. And that ultimately, many times in this series, doomed Philadelphia because the point differential between these two teams was so close. This, as far as the intensity goes, every game being close, every game coming down to the wire, Game 5 going to overtime, the theatrics, the heroics, the great players, the coaching tactician-like approaches and execution from Nick Nurse, Tom Thibodeau. The power of New York and Philadelphia as two cities that you can't write the history of America without. Two fan bases, two teams that hate one another. The proximity between these two teams. Turnpike, Amtrak series. This goes down as one of the best first-round series that you'll ever see. And unfortunately for Philadelphia, once again, they lose one of these series that is extremely close. Joel Embiid has now lost a bunch of deciding games, a bunch of Game 7s, and you just at one point want him to come through for the good of his career resume and be able to win one of these series. Especially when he's gutting it out and he's playing as hard as he is, dealing with these injuries, dealing with the adversity, coming back off that knee injury to average more than 30 points per game in this series. It just sucks because everything was once again set up for Philadelphia. Back in 2019, you're going up against the Atlanta Hawks in the second round. You're thinking, of course, the Sixers are going to win this. They've taken on the Miami Heat. At times, they've been better. Here, against the New York Knicks in the first round, this is still a team that has not made it past the second round since 2001. And it's not like the Knicks have done well in the playoffs either since the turn of the century, but things set up nicely now for New York, and you wish Philadelphia was able to just somehow win this game. Anything can happen in Game 7 because Indiana Pacers are now waiting for New York. And I think New York beats the Pacers pretty easily. I don't think it's going to be much of a series. New York's a really good basketball team, but the Sixers proved they are a very good basketball team as well. But this organization that just continues to come up short, that continues to be crippled by choking in these big moments, once again chokes again. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks. Because these playoff games are fun. Watching Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey is fun. The Wells Fargo Center was jumping tonight for this Game 6. Jalen Brunson even said it. Fans are crazy. Unbelievable atmosphere. The Brunson, Josh Hart with the huge three, pretty much won the game. Dante DiVincenzo, the Villanova Wildcats moving on. We'll look ahead to the offseason here coming up. Postgame show sponsored by Prize Picks. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Pick 2 or more players. Choose more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money. Use the link down below, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. Our picks for this game, we lost, just like the Sixers lost, as the Knicks did a really, really good job against Tyrese Maxey. And I'll also say this, the whistle that he did not get at home in this game, I'm sorry, a fucking joke when you consider that Jalen Brunson was getting every single whistle in this entire series. Both are all-stars. Maxey's a star, yet he can't get a whistle. It's a crime. Win big money with Prize Picks. Withdraw your winnings, pick more, pick less. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Now for Philadelphia here moving forward, you have the young star in Tyrese Maxey. You have Joel Embiid, who I thought grew up a little bit in this playoff series. He was great. Considering outside of Game 5, the fourth quarters, I get it. The guy's on one leg. He's battling Bell's palsy, dealing with adversity, coming back from the knee. Like, all things considered, Embiid in this game, great. Throughout this series, very, very good. You still have an MVP candidate in Joel Embiid. You have the young star in Tyrese Maxey. Outside of that, we're really not sure which players are going to come back. I'd like to see Cam Payne and Kyle Lowry come back as your backup point guards. They give you confidence, swagger, and smart players. Tobias Harris, goodbye. He has crippled this basketball team. And in this Game 6, the most Tobias Harris game to wrap up his Sixers career. $36 million is what he made this year. He played 29 minutes. He took 2 shots, 0 points. Does it get more Tobias Harris than that? It does not. Game 5, really good. Credit to him. Game 6, a literal goose egg. I'm going to celebrate not having Tobias Harris on this basketball team any longer, and hopefully Philadelphia is going to be able to use that cap space. Because this free agency period is going to be interesting. Now, it does kind of suck that Philadelphia has the most cap space in an offseason when the free agency crop pretty thin as far as elite players go. I highly doubt that LeBron James comes to Philadelphia. Paul George is a free agent. If the Clippers lose in the first round, does he want to change the scenery? Did the Clippers change it up? Or with Kawhi Leonard playing less than 50% of his games throughout his Clippers tenure, do they get desperate and bring Paul George back, who is from LA? Klay Thompson is a free agent, but he's 34 years old and he struggled throughout much of this year. And in the playoffs last year, in the play-in tournament this year, he really struggled. But still a solid defender who can hit the three. That's a player certainly that I would be interested in. After that, there is a deep drop-off Tobias Harris is the next best free agent. Sayonara. James Harden, you're just not going to do it. Still has a beef with Daryl Morey. I don't want him back. You see that Game 5, by the way, from James Harden? Classic. Pascal Siakam, player who Nick Nurse has familiarity with. How does he fit alongside Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey? Long player, good defender, highly productive, but he's going to cost a lot. Gordon Hayward, no. Kyle Lowry, I'd like to see him back. DeMar DeRozan, a lot of offense, no defense. Those Bulls teams, they're just losers. Bruce Brown, solid bench player in my opinion, who's way overpriced. Buddy Hield. How about the 5 threes that he hit in the first half, which was electrifying? Unfortunately, though, he got benched in games 4 and 5. I don't think he's going to come back. OG Anunoby, probably going to go back to the Knicks as a player option. D'Angelo Russell, James Harden light? No. Markelle Fultz, I'm good. Can't revisit that. So the point here being, there are not a lot of really good free agents. But again, does a LeBron or Paul George look at Tyrese Maxey, look at Joel Embiid? They look at an elite coach in Nick Nurse and say, I want to play for that guy. You don't really have the player capital or the draft capital to trade for a Devin Booker or a Kevin Durant. But do you give up a bunch of first-round picks for Kevin Durant? I think the Knicks are going to go hunting for one of those two players. And you're trying to compete right now with the New York Knicks. So that's the reality of the situation here for Philadelphia. Ousted early once again. Another crushing loss. It sucks. Let me know your one-word reaction to the Sixers series loss to the Knicks and what was just an excellent first-round series. And hopefully Knicks fans, Sixers fans, going to be able to come together, shake it out, man. Because I got respect for the Knicks. The NBA is better when the Knicks are competitive. That was a lot of fun. Chip, if you want to hop on, share your thoughts. End of the season here. You could certainly do that. It's just the same result once again for Philadelphia here.
It's disappointing. It's soul-crushing. It's, again, another year where they failed to reach the conference finals. And look, props to the Knicks, man. They're a real good team. Honestly, I think right now they'd be my pick to come out of the East. And it was a battle. The Knicks only outscored the Sixers in all 6 games combined by 1 point. 1 point. It was a back-and-forth series every game. The Sixers battled. To their credit, they never folded. Neither did the Knicks. You know, where do they go from here? Because Daryl Morey, it's a pivotal offseason for you. A lot of moves that Daryl Morey has made since he's arrived that have kept the Sixers somewhat in contention, always close, but never quite there. He makes the James Harden trade earlier this year to open up cap space for this offseason. That was the goal of that move.
Yep.
To take on expiring deals. Even when they traded for Buddy Hield, expiring deal. Everything they did this year was for flexibility this offseason. So Daryl Morey, you know, we could talk all we want about what we think Morey should do, what we want him to do, who we can go get, who we can't. At the end of the day, Morey, this is what you've been planning for this entire year, was for this offseason. So now go out, do whatever you set out to do, get the players in here that you've had on your mind to go out and get, and formulate a team around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey that can finally get the job done. Because if they can't get it done this offseason, truly, I don't know when they're going to be able to.
Yeah, and Chip makes the point, and a bunch of good points there. You know, you freed up cap space, and this year was never really the year. You know, your trade deadline acquisitions were on the peripheries of the roster with Buddy Hield, campaign, Kyle Lowry on the buyout market. You were always kind of looking ahead to next year. You freed up that money. Joel Embiid in this series, I thought matured. I thought he grew up. I thought he battled. This Sixers team was tough. They were resilient. They're a mentally tougher team than they've been under Glenn Rivers, under Nick Nurse. You have an elite coach. Embiid has his Robin now in Tyrese Maxey, who soon can become the Batman. And at times is the Batman, is the star. Now it's on Daryl Morey to improve this basketball team and make the necessary moves to get the Sixers team over the hump. He's paid a lot of money. So too is Nick Nurse. Put your money where your mouth is.